Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching the Paranormal Dolls. Sarah Garcia Mungaro is traveling, so we wish her well. We wish her lots of luck in her events. And today we have a wonderful guest, Kathrine Sorilos, who's been a good friend of mine for a while now.
Mhm.
And we've done a couple of events together. So,
Yes.
you know what? Let her introduce herself. Hi,
Hi.
Catherine.
Hi, honey. I love the music. I did love the music background. It is absolutely like I don't know, it's a mixture of charmed and something creepy, but it's nice. I like it. It's you.
That's me.
It's you. Oh wow. So everybody, well, you can see my name on the screen. My name is Kathrine Sorilos. I'm Greek Australian. I am also at the moment I'm living in Greece. I've traveled a little bit around the world. I've lived in Scotland and the UK. I stayed in America for about 7 months and I absolutely loved America and can't wait to get back there. So, for a couple of events that I'm going to be doing this year, um, I'm a psychic trance medium, a Reiki master teacher, a clinical hypnotherapist. I do past life regression. I do theta healing, hands-on healing. I've got a witchy side. So a jack of all trades, a little bit of everything. So, here and there, little bits and pieces,
Right.
and a paranormal investigator as well. And I started from the age of 11, of like every child does from a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really funny because we all get the same, I won't say symptoms, but we all get the same things happening to us, like paranormal stuff that happens to every child. Like they might see the boogeyman, or they might hear or feel something. They might hear a name or a whistle or feel a presence. So I think at the age of a very young age, especially at the age of 11, it's when they really make themselves known.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at the age of 11, I did a few seminars here in Greece while I was staying in Greece. I did psychodynamics, which those seminars included um, remote viewing, psychokinesis, and which psychokinesis and telekinesis are similar but and different too. Telekinesis is actually moving things from afar, and psychokinesis actually spirit moving stuff. So we learn how to do telepathy, mind over matter, self hypnosis. All we enhanced and touched on our psychic abilities and gifts that every single person has. Everybody's born with psychic and spiritual gifts.
Yep.
And the seminars helped me enhance them and develop them more. And then so on after that, I kept on doing seminars and learning, and I'm still learning.
We are.
Yeah,
We all are. We should, because there's a lot to be learned yet.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
So you were in Greece at the age of
mhm,
11. And
mhm.
now, when did you move out of Greece?
Well, I was born in Australia and I left Australia when I was about 8, then came to Greece. Stayed here 8, 9, 10, 11, say 12, and then went back to Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and then left Australia when I was 21,
Okay.
and then came back to Greece and got married, had my 3 boys, then went back to Australia, and then got back here in 2020, in 2005, in 2005, sorry.
Mhm.
got back to Greece in 2005, and then got remarried, had another 2 children, so that's 5 in general. So
God bless you. That's all I can say.
that's what I wonder myself too. And, and then I went to Scotland in 2005 with the
Mhm.
hubby and the kids, and then came back to Greece again. Stayed there for about 4 years. Came back. Then my last trip was in 2022 in America, where I
Mhm.
stayed in Iowa and Alabama. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love that.
Mm.
So yeah, so back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, so
Well,
it's good.
so you went from there back to Australia. Did you experience the same things in Australia as you did in
In
Greece?
Greece,
Yeah.
yeah. See, when I was young, in Australia, I still like remember little glimpses when I was young that I always used to call my parents in my bedroom because I used to feel that somebody was under my bed
Mhm.
or in my cupboard, and yeah, and it's the so-called boogeyman, and the boogeyman does exist
Mhm.
and feeds on fear. You know, you can
Mhm.
feel him. I would always look, I remember always looking under my bed. So that means that at the age of 8, I could actually sense things, I could feel
Right.
things. So coming back and after doing the seminars at the age of 11
Mhm.
and having my psychic abilities more enhanced and more developed, I started, I must have been about 12 when we got back to Australia. So I would always feel like somebody was following me, like especially when the sun would go down,
Mhm.
and that's it's in between. It's like a gateway that opens between sunrise and sunset.
Mhm.
And I would always feel like somebody was following me, and I would look back and no one would be there, you know. And then I have this fear, and then I'll be jolting back home, like down the street, and I could feel it. And but that no one was there. Or I could feel, I could hear somebody whistling at the back, and I would look back, and no one was there.
Mhm.
And I remember my mum used to say, "You don't whistle at night time because you call the devil." I don't know if you've got. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Well, that's
No,
a good one.
yeah, don't whistle at night because the devil will come. But I think I read that for Native Americans about is it the skinwalker or that you don't whistle at
You
night
don't
because
whistle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't whistle
exactly.
at
See
night.
how various things have got they're very
Everything.
similar.
Everything is similar, except
Yeah,
people give it so strict labels
yeah,
that
exactly,
nobody realizes it's basically the same.
exactly, exactly. So I had my first real apparition at the age of 15,
Mhm.
and that was I can still remember it up to now. It's like I'm looking at you right now. That's how I saw my then best friend, her dad, who had killed himself. He had hung himself.
Oh,
So that was my first operation at the age of 15, and
now,
explaining why he did it.
oh, okay. I was gonna say, did he give you a message? Did he
He
try
did.
to? Yeah, that
He did.
that must have been very hard for you because you had to go and tell your friend, and that puts you in a very
It
awkward.
did. Glenda, it put me in a spot because um, it was, how do I say it? The situation was bad as it was because
Right.
he had killed himself. But the reason why he killed himself was because he was in a lot of pain. He had cancer in his bones.
Oh,
And being, you know, in the Greek community and in the street that we lived, there were a lot of Greeks. So every second house was a Greek house, you know, in Australia, in
right.
Sydney. So he wouldn't talk about, like, they didn't talk about it. They didn't say that he actually hung himself. You know, you
Right.
don't say that in the Greek community. It was actually my mum that went and cut the noose off.
Oof.
So she never she didn't talk about it.
No.
And then you know how we have the 40 days
Hmm.
before the soul crosses over
Right.
in the Eastern Orthodox. So after the 40 days, my friend said, "Why don't you come and sleep over at my house?" And She knew her dad hung himself, but she
Mhm.
didn't say anything. She's just said that her dad just died.
Right,
So no one knew. No one knew at school. I didn't even know, and I was supposed to be her best friend. My
right.
parents never spoke about it. So the night that I slept over, her dad, the usual stuff where the blanket gets torn off and then you pull it back up and then gets
Yeah,
torn
you're
off.
like, "Yeah, I don't want to know that.
Exactly. I was like this, and I was thinking it was Carrie because that was her name, and I'm like, Carrie, are you asleep? Like, she was asleep. Like she was
Right,
moaning, she was asleep, and I'm like, oh no. And then I felt it go like that, and then her dad showed himself like in front of me, and he
right.
started explaining why he killed himself, why he hung himself, and how sorry he was, and that he left a note for his wife and his daughter that had slipped because he hung himself in the garage, so it slipped and went under the fridge, the old fridge
Oh,
in the garage.
oh,
So that was his explanation note, which no one had found.
mm,
So I've woken up Kerry, and then he left. And I've woken up Kerry, and I said, Kerry, wake up, your dad was here. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, I saw your dad. She's my dad's dead. I said, no, I saw him. He was right here. He explained, he hung himself. And that's when she got shocked. She goes, how do you know? Did your
right,
mum tell you? I said, tell me what? She goes, did your mum tell you that he hung him? I said, no one told me. I said, he told me.
right.
I said, and there's a little note underneath the fridge in the garage. So we went there. We pulled the fridge, and there was a little note
Oh,
under there explaining everything. She was upset because I saw her father and she didn't,
mm,
and then she did something stupid. She tried through like a seance to call upon him and called me there in her house, and that didn't turn out very well at all.
no, no.
No,
Usually at that age, it doesn't.
no. And then she stopped talking to me after that. So yeah,
Because it was too hard for her.
it was, and I understand it. Like
Yeah,
then I didn't understand it. I was upset, but now I do understand that it was her way of grieving, of coming to copes with it,
right,
or actually, she couldn't understand why her dad didn't show himself to her and he showed to a total stranger. You know what I mean?
right, right. Yeah. And, it's the thing that people don't understand that sometimes it's easier for them to come
Mm-hmm.
to a stranger
Yeah, that's true.
because of two things. One, the person who's grieving may pull them down so far down that
Mm-hmm.
then it'll be hard for them to go back up. So the stranger is just going to keep them
At a
yeah,
distance.
at a distance.
Yeah,
Still see, still do it, but not hold them down. Not that the grieving person, the loved one, means to do that, but it's just their love and their want
I know.
and their grief that just pulls them down.
I know, I know.
Um,
I did that mistake with my dad when he passed away. Despite the fact that I know all about this, grief and pain,
mhm, yeah,
it'll
that
do
that
it to you.
yeah, and that's why I have a rule of thumb. If you want me to try to contact the loved ones, they have to be dead at least 6 months.
Yes,
At
yes.
least 6 months. Because this way they have a chance to go up into the
Mm-hmm.
light, debrief, as I call it,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
find out what they did, they didn't do, they got to redo, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll be free to come down, chat,
And
and go back up.
exactly, that's my rule. Exactly my rule too. Because I get a lot of people that at the 40 days or the
Oh,
10
yeah.
days, and I'm
Yeah,
like, no,
they're like here. And I'm like,
yeah,
because I also have the 40-day
yeah, yeah. I
tradition.
remember you were talking about
Yeah.
it.
And I am like, no, it's really too soon. Let's do 6 months.
Yeah.
Believe me, what they got to tell you, they're going to tell you in 6 months.
Oh yeah, true. They're not going to change. They're still going to be the
But
same person
right,
they were. Yeah,
right. And for them, you know, 6 months is like this.
yeah.
We're the ones that are keeping time.
Grieving. Exactly.
Right. So, so that's now I want to ask you because I know everybody asked me, what did you tell your parents and what was their reaction? Because I know that that's got to have come up.
Yeah, it did. Like, Well, when I told mum, she was like, at the beginning, actually, with my mum, I witnessed my first exorcism when I was 11 here in Greece, right? We went to
Uh-huh.
a monastery, and the priest, that's where the priest told my mum, because I witnessed the exorcism, and I got, um, it affected me. And being
I
an
was,
empath and a
I was 5 years
sensitive,
old when they took me to one.
oh, really?
Yeah, they
Oh
said
my
they needed
God.
my light.
Okay. Oh God. No, that's too
And
young.
I
That's
remember it completely. So it's like,
yeah, no,
5 years old, everybody says, "Oh, you should have forgotten." No,
no, no,
there's
no,
certain things you just stays with
no, exactly. They never go away. Those memories are like that
you.
there.
Details. You
So,
even remember what color flowers were around you.
oh yeah, true. True, that is so true. You so yeah. So I remember every detail, and that was my first exorcism, and I got affected.
Yeah.
So being an empath and a sensitive, and I didn't know what an empath and a sensitive was at the age of 11, you
Yeah.
know. And lucky there was a priest that was more advanced, and he was a very educational person. Before he became a priest, he went to uni. He did parapsychology and psychology. So he told my mum that your daughter is, is gifted,
Right.
and he's the one that actually turned around and said, "Take your daughter to her and to my auntie." And I went to those seminars with my auntie because my auntie did those seminars with me together.
Mm.
So take your daughter, take her to those seminars. So mum knew from a very young
Right.
age that I could see and
Right.
feel, and she could see and feel through her dreams.
Mm.
And we only talked about it in the family,
Right.
not outside the family.
Hmm. I know that feeling.
Yeah. And dad actually, at the age of when I was 15, I didn't know, but dad knew how to read, the normal deck of cards.
Yeah.
He knew how to read the normal deck of cards.
Cool.
So we're on a holiday,
Hmm.
summer holiday, and I'm seeing him pulling out the normal deck of cards. And actually, I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm reading the cards." I said, "Do you know how to read the cards?" I said, he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Show me." Goes, he goes in Greek, he goes, "Daughter." And I went, "Yes." He goes, "I'll only show you once. And if you've got the gift, you'll know how to interpret every single card." So
Yeah.
he did. He did. He was a bloody Scorpio, pardon my French. So he showed me once, and that was it. And then I picked it up straight away, and then
Yeah.
and I kept on practicing and doing readings with a normal deck of cards, and then I got
Hmm.
into the oracle cards and tarot cards. But yeah, but we never spoke about it ever outside a home.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, I found out that my granddad from my mom's side comes from a bloodline of fairies.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh. Oh
he's
my goodness.
yeah. I didn't know that because apparently he was the sheriff of the village, and he used to go down to the swamp and speak in fairy tongue. But
Mm.
because he was the sheriff of the village, he didn't talk about it because they would
Correct.
have thought he was crazy.
Hmm.
And I found out from my mum's younger sister, it slipped her tongue a couple of years ago that my granddad used to
Wow.
speak to the fairies. He was off with the fairies.
For the parents.
He was off with the fairies. So yeah. So we've got that. Yeah. So a lot of secrets have been revealed,
Uh,
slowly.
those generations didn't talk about
No,
anything,
no.
nothing. Well, because there is the fear of, getting thought you were crazy, getting put away, or God, dear Lord, if you went to certain places, getting burned to death. So
Exactly.
it's like, you know,
I mean, how many people in the asylums are really crazy and schizophrenic,
I
or
don't
are they really seeing
think
things?
exactly. I honestly believe that a lot of the people um, are just gifted, very gifted.
Exactly. Exactly.
And unfortunately, they, especially in that age and those times, they didn't have that direction. They didn't have anybody to talk about. As soon as you
Yeah.
said you saw somebody, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Before you even had a chance to say, it was my grandfather, and he gave me exactly the combination to to the safe. Say, but
Yeah. It's even nowadays, still, you still come across that. I mean, I came across that in a couple of states in America. I
yeah,
still come across it here in Greece, which Greece is the country of democracy and the oracle and I
yeah.
still come across it's like, oh, this is demonic. This is, this is not, the way of God. This is like,
And
hello.
you're like, what?
Exactly.
Uh, believe me, we believe there. We believe there's the same God. It's just we do
Exactly.
it differently, but it's the same God. Still the same spirit. Still the same energy. Still
Exactly.
the same creator.
And they teach the children like that as well, Glenda. Like the kids nowadays, kids are seeing more. Kids are getting more like enhanced with their gifts.
Yeah,
The gifts are surfacing more, and they're getting more gifts. And you get parents where they're like, oh no, this is not the way of God. This is the devil way.
yeah.
No, teach your kids,
Mm-hmm.
teach them, guide them, and if you can't, find somebody that can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Because if you suppress those gifts later on when they resurface,
Oh,
it's going to be problems.
yeah. Because then they'll resurface with a vengeance,
Exactly.
and at that point, then it might bring you a little mental problems because
Mm-hmm.
everything comes at you at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, it's like with me, I talked to my mother about everything, how to keep it quiet from my father until my mother passed away. And then my father was seeing her. And he
Oh,
came to me and he apologized for everything. He's like, I am so sorry. You had to keep it quiet from me because I know you have the gifts. I know
yeah.
you have the gifts. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad that you're finally saying something like this, but it took you to see my mother in front of you to say something. Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay. You learned.
I
you
know.
you evolved.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's still it still hurts though.
yeah,
It still hurts.
all those years I had to keep it quiet. I
Yeah.
could only talk to my mother, my grandmother, certain people. But it's it was okay. That's the way he needed to learn. He learned, and at least thank God he evolved. So it's all good.
Good.
Um, so that exorcism, that was your first exorcism. Did it
Mm-hmm.
make you? I know it frightened you at first, but did it later on encourage you to do exorcisms, or are you completely out of them?
Um. Okay. Now, um, that was my first, and then I had a second one, and then I've done a third one where I was a witness again, but
Right,
that was a couple of years ago, and that was when I was with the Warren Legacy Foundation,
right.
and I had to be in front of an exorcism,
Mhm.
and the guy actually took his life when the Vatican decided to
To
send
send, yeah.
a priest, and then they were late, very late.
Mm.
He took his life.
Yep. I that is the one thing that I know that you got to go through certain procedure,
Hmm.
but when it takes 2 years to get somebody there,
I know.
you know, I could understand put them through a psychological exam, through this
Hmm.
exam to make sure that they whatever have a really deep conversations with them, really interview them and all that. But it should not take 2 years.
No, No, and it's really bad when it comes to the Vatican, like with the Catholics, because with here in all the Orthodox priests, they do exorcisms. You don't have to go through the Archbishop to
Right.
get the okay to
Right.
do an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every Wednesday, there's the Saint Cypriot. You know who Saint Cypriot was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
And
for our
tell for
audience.
those that don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for our audience, he was a witch. He was a warlock, right? But an evil one. He used to call upon the demons and used to do black magic, perform the black arts. He was an occultist, and then he was trying to make Saint Eustini, that's what she's called in Greek, but I can't remember what she's called in English. A guy came to him, a very rich guy came to him, asking for to make this girl fall in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
So she kept on saying secret with black magic. He kept on sending the devil to her to try to persuade her to fall in love with this guy. But because the girl, she was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She believed in God. She didn't fall for it,
Right.
right?
It was very pure.
So she was very pure.
Right.
And then Saint Cyprian decided to stop all the occult, all the dark arts, and become a Christian himself. He thought, believing in God was much stronger than believing into the devil.
Right.
So he because he knew all the dark arts, he knew all the exorcisms, he knew all the demons, he knew everything. He knew how to perform, undo black magic,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and perform exorcisms.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Saint Cyprian monasteries here in Greece in his honor, and that's where the priests every Wednesdays and it used to be every Wednesday and every Friday they used to perform exorcisms. Now they do it every Wednesday. You go up to the monastery
Mm-hmm.
and you bring the person that apparently is possessed, and they
Right.
will perform the exorcism there
Wow.
every Wednesday. Yeah,
That's wonderful. At
yes.
least it's
They
at
don't have to wait.
yeah, I know. Because that 2 year period, that is why I'm command and celebrate those priests or people in general who are just willing to do it. Like I've done it. It's not an easy job,
No,
but
it isn't.
um, and it normally does take something
It
out.
does.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It always takes a piece out of you.
Yeah.
Always takes a piece of your soul.
So yeah, that's exactly how I tell everyone. But
Yeah.
you know, I've done it. If there's an emergency and it needs to get done, I will be there.
Same here.
But I am trying to stay out of it.
Same. Same here. Actually, I've got this big cross that came from my dad's great great auntie. She was a nun,
Hmm.
and apparently in that cross there's a little tiny piece of the holy cross,
Right.
a bit of wood.
Okay.
Now, I had a friend of mine who's a priest, he's a Greek priest, and he came over last year to see us with his wife because our priests can get married.
Right.
They can be married before they become priests, you know what I
Right.
mean? And he put in that cross because that cross opens. And so I've got relics in there from Saint Christopher, piece
Oh.
of his piece of his fingers
Ah,
from Saint Christopher and Saint Cypriot.
okay.
So I've got relics from there. So that's quite a strong cross. So when needed to
Yeah.
go to a place to do something like that, that's my weapon.
Very, very good.
Oh,
Very good.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
yeah, and I could sense that definitely protects you for
it
sure.
does. It does.
So
It does. And
um,
my family.
so tell us, what do you have coming up?
Okay, now let me have a look right here. Okay, I've got it because I had to write it down.
Of course. I do too. I have to write everything down and calendars all over the place.
Yeah. So, and I can't see, I've got my glasses on. I've got my short, my short and for my long and for my distant glasses. Okay. So the 18th of January, I've got a
Mhm.
live investigation with Candy Slater
Oh, nice.
and Jenny Davis from all from the Ashes Paranormal, it's called, and we've got a live and it's getting streamed by Get Haunted.
Okay.
So we've got I'm doing a remotely live investigation at the Monroe House in Indiana.
Nice.
So I've been to that house. I've
Yeah.
investigated it like physically when I was
Mhm.
in America. They call it the Demon House. It is intense and it does have a lot of activity. And I just want to, coming back again, even remotely, I just want to know if it's, it's going to be exciting because I just want to know if it does remember my energy.
Right. Right.
So I can't wait to do that. That's coming up on the 18th of January, live at I think. Hang on, because I always mix up the Eastern time. Yeah, so it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time,
Okay.
and then I have okay. Then I've got March the 2nd live again, and
Mhm.
that's another remote investigation with Larissa Rex
Okay.
and David Childers. And it's from the Third Eye production. And we are doing, I'm investigating remotely from here again, the haunted Samuel Miller Mansion, and
Mhm.
that's going to be March the 2nd at 1 a.m. in the 1 p.m. Sorry, Eastern time.
Okay.
And then I have March the 23rd and the 24th. There might be a chance that I might be flying to America for this one.
Ooh.
And I think I am. I think it looks like I might be. I will be flying. So it's at the Harriman, Tennessee. Yeah, it's called Harriman, Tennessee, right?
Mhm.
And it's at the Avalon Center. It's on March the 23rd and the 24th. Um, there's going to be investigations at the Brushy Mountain State Prison, and myself and another medium will be doing readings at the old historic Harriman Hospital. It
Nice.
is for a very good cause. It is for the women that are being abused.
Mm.
Um, and um, and for the children as well. So it's going
Right.
for all the money's going for a good cause, and it's Jen Jacobs is running this event,
Right.
and you can find this event, and they are asking for vendors as well. So this event you can find it on www.womenoftheparanormal celebration.com.
Right.
And then I've got the big event on April the 17th and the 26th with Mysterious Tours, which is run by
Mhm.
Maria Schmidt.
Yeah.
And I've got Grant Wilson coming all the way from America to Greece, and we are touring Greece.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we are going to places that I've investigated here in Greece. So
Mhm.
10 different places, 10 days to places that I've investigated. I've investigated all these places. We're going to the sanatorium of Pamitha, which is a very big thing here in Greece, in
Mhm.
Athens. It's very haunted. It was a hospital for World War II, and then it became a sanatorium for people with tuberculosis. Then it
Mhm.
became um, a hotel. Then it became, like a school for education, but it always burns down, always.
Wow.
Apparently, it always burns down, never stays, like the foundations always burn down.
Hmm.
So that's when I had another apparition there of a nurse when I first went and investigated.
Mhm.
And I see this, we've gone with the team that I used to be, the Greek team, and we've gone into the place, and there's a woman in blonde with beautiful hair, like pulled all back. She had a little cap on with the red cross, and she looked at me. She goes, She was holding a little watch in her hand. And she goes to me, Anna Ioannou in Greek. And I've just gone, okay. And I've gone, and did anybody see that? And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, you didn't see it? And she disappeared in the wall. So we looked it up on the internet, and apparently there was an Anna Ioannou that was the hospital nurse, but she was like above that. She was the
Like the
head nurse,
supervisor.
the supervisor, yeah. And she apparently for when it was the Red Cross when in World War II.
Wow.
So when you get verification like that, it's fantastic. It's like my mind's not making it up. It's there. It's happening.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because even though we do this all the time and it happens to us all the time, we still like, was that what I think
yeah,
I saw? Huh.
exactly.
Yeah, so verification is always fantastic.
It is.
Um, Now you have two daughters that you also have been training.
Hmm.
Okay. Tell me how, what got you to do that?
Okay. The girls from a very young age, I noticed that they were seeing things. Um, they would say that they would describe that they were seeing black holes in the room, or they would see somebody in the cupboard, like the boogeyman, or something was there, or some red eyes looking at them. And then what really got me is with my oldest. When we were here in Greece in 2014, we lived in a very haunted house. Yeah, there was a cemetery right next door to it, and I didn't know there was a cemetery.
Oh,
There was a little girl that got burnt in that house, and I didn't know about it. I found out everything afterwards after I left.
of course.
Yeah. Even with the cemetery, the day we moved into that house, I go to my husband, there's a fence, there's a grey fence, brick fence there. I said, well, what's in there? He goes, a cemetery. I said, now you tell me. Because you didn't know? I said, no. I said, if I knew, we wouldn't have moved. So yeah. So oh my God, I caught her. I had a mirror in the bedroom. So
Mhm.
I caught her talking to the mirror. And I had given birth to my youngest one, then my other daughter.
Right.
And Ippolyti, she was getting a bit. She felt a bit left out that we were focusing on the baby, so she was getting
Mhm.
a bit jealous.
Right.
So she was she was sort of withdrawing from us, and I would catch her speaking to that mirror. And then I would catch her waking up at night time, sleepwalking and standing in front of the mirror and talking to that mirror.
Oh,
And then that mirror, or whatever was in that mirror, wasn't a good thing. It was really dark.
right.
And it was a male entity, very dark. And it was telling her to do things like to kill her little sister.
Mm.
So, as soon as I would walk into the room, she'll be silent. She wouldn't be talking. And then I caught on, and then I grabbed the mirror and I threw it away
Mm.
and did what I had to do, to for that plate. Like as soon as I took the mirror blender out of that room, the room smelled like sulfur,
Oh,
like rotten egg.
yeah.
Have you ever smelled cables that have been burnt?
Mhm.
That's what it smelled like. And I thought, okay, we've got
We
something.
got work to do. Yes.
Yeah. So, when I started moving things and started blessing the house and bringing priests over, I would have the water tank bursting every time the water tank will burst, and I knew something's happening there. And then all of a sudden, mold will come out of walls for no apparent reason, and there will be blood trickling down the walls, and then black mold, and then green. I thought,
Yeah, I would be like, okay, see you, gotta go.
yep, that's what I did. I said, you won. I kept on saying, you're not going to win this. I'm going to stay here.
Right.
I stayed in that house for 2 years.
Oof.
that nearly costed my marriage, nearly costed my kids being apart. It
Yeah.
was I tried to fight it, but it was way stronger than me. So I thought, that's it, I'm done. See
Yeah.
you later. I got
Mm-hmm.
to save my family.
Yeah.
And then, like, because as soon as we'd leave the house, everything would be great. And as soon as we would walk back into that house, it was like chaos for all of
Right.
us.
Right.
So that's when I found out that my youngest daughter she was an empath and a sensitive. And later on with the years, she developed her abilities more. Like she kept on saying, "Mom, I'm seeing this. Mom, I'm feeling this. Mom, I've walked in this place and I can't breathe. What's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
So she was getting things. Oh, she'll go close to a person and she'll start yawning. Mom, why am I yawning? Being close to that person. So being a mom that knows all this stuff,
Right.
I was like, yeah, welcome to my world. Let me guide you, child.
Yes. Let's have that talk. And we have
Yeah,
a different talk than most mothers do.
exactly. Now the other one, the
Mhm.
nine, the youngest, she sees the dark side.
Hmm. Okay.
She sees how people have died. She actually sees them. So we walked into. She did the first investigation in America, in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked into a haunted location, and she's like, "Mom, can you see the guy in the piano?" And I'm like, "I can feel something there, but I can't see.
Right.
What are you seeing?" She goes to me, "Oh, his hand is twisted like that, and they've got his head like that, and there's blood." And I'm like, "Okay." And there's a guy just there. He's holding his guts because he's been shot, and his guts are hanging off his hands. And she would tell me like that.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. And she would draw. She actually draws them. She can actually
Oh.
draw what like the spirit. She can actually draw the spirit. Like if you show a photo
Yeah.
of a haunted location, she'll grab her pen and paper and she'll draw the spirit that lives in there.
Wow.
That's the youngest, yeah.
That's gift.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
Oof.
So
Mm.
yeah.
Her.
And they've got different gifts than me. And I'm really proud of them because they're doing really well. And if it's something that I can't help them with, I know that there's gifted people out there like you,
Mm-hmm.
and that I can come up and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. What do you think?" You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yes, because let's face it, um, those that have children that are gifted, we need help also, because
exactly.
not one particular one of us knows everything. Even if we are gifted with that gift,
Yeah,
we may not have developed it yet,
exactly.
or allowed it to develop. So it's always good to have um, a circle, a circle
Yes,
of people
true.
who can you can call and say, or get in touch and say, this is what's happening. What can I do? And so because you have the capability of having a little more of a circle. When my kids were young, it was me
It was just you. I know.
because you couldn't really go up to somebody and say, hey, my son is seeing things and they're telling them to do bad things.
Oh,
And yeah.
you've had quite a few with your kids as well, haven't you?
Yes, yes. I have three of them.
Mm-hmm.
All three are gifted. Um, the youngest one is the one that got to see, especially when we moved to the house in Pennsylvania, gets to see the one that's mischievous in the house and who'd always tell him in the shower, especially, water as conductor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, you could do that. You won't get in trouble. And then he would come down. They're telling me to do this. I said, you'll get in trouble for that, right? Yeah, that's why I'm telling you. I said, okay, at least you're not listening.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and my house, usually I've had this agreement that everybody stays in the attic and nobody comes from the attic down. They come from the
Good.
attic down, then that's an eviction.
Exactly. Agreed.
It's an eviction. It's calls for an eviction. Sorry, but we could all live in peace.
Exactly. We can all live together.
Right,
In
right.
peace.
But yes, they're all gifted, and my granddaughters are also gifted. So,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, that's good. But
yeah,
they've got a grandmother that knows how to guide them.
yes, and I am already starting to see them, or at least one that I take care of. Look into the wall and blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh God, dear Lord, who are you talking to now?
exactly. Exactly. They can see, we can't.
Right, right. So, and usually it's like, okay, let's try to get, encourage it, but talk to me about it so I can, if I have to do something, I can do it before it's
Too
gets
late.
right, right. So,
Yeah.
now, you're planning to hopefully come to
Mm-hmm.
America
Yep.
in April,
No,
March,
April I've got the tour. Yeah, in March.
March. Yeah. So,
23rd and 24th.
okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I almost went to that, by the way. I almost
Uh-huh.
signed up for it, but taking care of my granddaughter right now,
It's
it's
hard.
it's
Yeah.
hard to travel
I
that
know.
way. So,
I
but
know.
it's all good. I Is there anything else that you want to talk and tell our audience about yourself, your life? Now that with the double citizenship, so you're Australian
And Greek.
and Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was one parent Greek and one from Australia, or
No, both of my parents were Greek.
okay,
They were both born in Greece and they left in the 1970s when everybody, when everybody started migrating to Australia, to America, to
right,
Germany. Yeah, mine migrated to Australia,
okay,
down in Kangaroo Land. That's what I call it. So I was born there. So
hmm,
I don't know how it goes. Like my parents were first generation, or I'm first generation Australian.
yeah, your first.
And yeah, I'm first generation. Then my kids are second generation because all my kids, all five of them, have got the Australian citizenship as
Okay,
well. So we had the Greek element very strong in our house.
right.
My parents spoke Greek. They spoke English, a little bit of English, not more, but mum at all, just a little bit. Dad, he spoke English. He had to learn.
Hmm.
And so we had the Greek element very strong in our household, like Greek music, and the dads, and because my parents had Greek restaurants in Australia.
Mm.
So it was quite strong. It was quite strong. So I grew up with that.
Good, good.
Yeah,
It's
I grew
always
up with
good
that.
to have both all backgrounds, right?
Yeah. And then both husbands that I had, had and have, they were both Greek. So all my kids were born, except for my one son. All my other kids were born here in Greece,
Mm-hmm.
except for my third son who was born in Australia.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, very
so
good,
yeah,
very good.
so it's good.
Now, do you have any uh, investigations that you do with your daughters on a more say weekly basis, monthly basis, or you just
It is very hard to do investigations here in Greece. It's not like America or Australia or the UK where they have historical sites where they
hmm
keep them preserved for our teams to go in there and investigate.
right?
If they would have done something like that here, it would have been good, but they
Hmm.
don't do it. The government doesn't do that. So you've got people, owners that own these houses, historical houses, that are apparently haunted, and they've left them to fall apart.
Mm.
So it's very hard to actually go and investigate in haunted locations here in Greece. And the girls are just like begging me, Mum, when can we go? When can we go? When can we go? They're dying to go for an investigation. So
Yeah.
getting with another friend of mine here. He's a great investigator as well. very knowledgeable,
Mhm.
and he lives about an hour away from here. So we might be getting together and going to investigate, and I'm going to take the girls with me along. So
Nice.
yeah, it's going
Nice.
to be fun.
That's very good. And it's a shame because historical society, historical places, places that have been around for such a long time, it's a shame when they fall apart because
Yeah,
it's like heritage, history,
it is.
all
It is.
going down.
It is, and it's not like you're going to go in there. I mean, all that money is like you guys. The money goes to the places
Right, right,
to keep them going,
exactly.
and that's what they could have do here. They could have done here, but they're not doing it.
Hmm,
It's a shame.
hmm.
It's a shame.
Well, at least you may have, a place or two that is willing to just have you in, just to have you in,
Yeah,
at
yes,
least.
and then we can go, and then because I really want to go with the girls, and they're sort of like, "Mommy, oh, we want to go, we want to go." So yeah, so I might get them to do it.
Good, good. So again, give us some of the places that people can find you.
They can find me through my Facebook, as in like Kathrine Sorilos.
Hmm.
My Facebook page, Oracle Whispers by Kathrine Sorilos, Oracle Whispers on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. So they can find me like that. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Um, Pretty easy.
Hmm. It is.
Yeah. So, Catherine, is there anything else that you just want to tell our audience before we wrap this up?
Um, just what can I say? Is like read, study, get as much knowledge as you can. And because a lot of people are coming in touch with their gifts and their abilities,
Mhm.
and educate your children as much as you can on that. And if you don't know how to, there's many books out there, there's people out there that are very educated upon the metaphysics and the paranormal that can actually guide you and help you. Don't hesitate to ask for help.
Yeah, very good,
That's it.
very good. Well, thank you again,
Thank
and
you.
please hold on. I want to thank the audience for coming back to us every week. And thank you for your emails and your comments. We welcome anybody who is interested in coming on here and you want to give your story, please do. Like Catherine here, I mean, we all have our stories, we all have our gifts. Let's share it. All right. Thank you. And as always, we love you all. Bye.